Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Doom Tune Podcast. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and today on the podcast, we have band members from the band Dead Canyon. We have them all there, so we'll get into a lot of good stuff. It's a pretty long interview, but it's kind of fun. I have to give a shout-out, of course, to the main pet in the podcast, and that would be Harley. Harley is I think a bull terrier that's kind of like a Spuds MacKenzie dog. If you're familiar with Spuds MacKenzie, or if you remember who Spuds MacKenzie is, he was a dog that was in a campaign ad for Bud Light. Either way, it was a dog, and he was a party dog, and he drank a lot of beer. Either way, so we're talking about Dead Canyon here, and they are a really great band to check out, man. And I know they're going to be playing up this weekend in Tempe, and they have this riff rock thing going, and borderline on the stoner vibe. But like I've mentioned to them in the podcast, I get this Native American feel to them, and there's almost like a sense of a tribe when you go to listen to them. Like you're locked into just this style of music. Also, I found out that they were playing in another band. They had another band called Black Hell. A couple of the band members did. And you can find that on Bandcamp. Now, I'm going to play a little bit of Dead Canyon, and I'm also going to play some Black Hells just so you can get a taste, and then shoot over to Bandcamp and pick up some of their stuff. And I hope you like it, and I hope you enjoy this interview. And this is it. This is the interview with Dead Canyon.
It's potpourri, dude.
Is it potpourri?
Yeah,
It's potpourri. Fantastic.
Like,
Dude, this dude has changed.
don't give me the potpourri, you know. Like,
All right, we're gonna have to get into this.
I gotta have some potpourri, you know. It's really it's a gift. Huh?
So we are at this palatial estate right now, speaking with all of the members of Dead Canyon. Gentlemen, could you please introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. Welcome to my humble home, Chris, and I am Josh. And I don't know, should I say my last name? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Josh,
what do you
Bodner.
play?
I play drums in Dead Canyon, amongst other things, but mostly just Dead Canyon.
Okay.
My name's Frank. I play guitar and sing.
I be Roger Williams. I am otherwise known as the bass player.
The bass player. And one of the first questions I always ask is, how did you get started?
We got started, Josh and I started playing together as a two-piece out of the ashes of our old band.
What was that?
It was called Black Hell, and we were in a band before that called Carolina. Josh and I have been playing music together since before we really knew how to play music. So.
Has your music changed? Was it a different genre before, or?
Oh, yeah.
What were you playing?
It's like sludgy, crusty punk stuff.
Yeah, like sludgy, pussy, crusty punk stuff. It was
Pusty.
It was kind of pusty. It was actually probably more along the lines of what you would probably normally have on this podcast.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So how long have you guys been a band as a three-piece?
That's a very good question. I don't know. 2013, 2012, 13-ish, somewhere in there.
And how did you find Roger?
Well, we played a house party. So yeah, we played a house party at my friend Jared's house, who plays in another local band now called Twin Giant. We played at his house.
Right.
Roger saw us, and he started bugging us, like, wanted to join the band. We want to play bass for you. We need a bass player. We'll get back to you. You know, we'll see. And then eventually, like, he just kept coming around. He came to shows and stuff, and eventually, like, well, we gotta just give this guy a shot. And of course, we knew him from before, from playing in Graves at Sea and some other bands and stuff.
Oh, Roger, can you talk about that for a second? What were those kind of bands, and like what was the genres?
For What? I'm sorry. What was the question?
The previous bands that you were in before, did we start?
Previous bands. Well, coming right out of or right before Dead Canyon, I was in Graves at Sea, which we were previously speaking about, and a band called Super Destroyer. Graves at Sea was definitely more of it always got classified as like black and doom.
Okay.
But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it was a lot of
Tune low, played slow.
burning witch worship.
There you go. So I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the music because I've seen you guys a whole bunch of times, and I've never actually gotten the chance to ask you about the songs, track by track. If I can give you a few songs and you just tell me about the track. Just Enough Rope.
Okay. Let's get into the weeds here. Just Enough Rope. That's a song that we wrote. What was that, on the demo?
Yeah.
Yeah. We wrote that as a two-piece, Frank and I. That's actually the only song that I've wrote lyrics for in this band. So I guess the song, like, what it's about, essentially, lyrically, is like how you, like, self-sabotage yourself with, like, negative thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah, you just give enough rope to hang yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And yeah, that was off the demo, and I have a few others that are off the demo that I remember hearing you play live, like 80 Miles to Mexico. Now with Just Enough Rope, 80 Miles, and a couple others I talked to both of you about it before putting the mics on, and I get this overwhelming, like, Native American or just this, like, Native vibe, like this being in like nature. And I know you're a hiker, right? Okay. And I was like, do you get inspired when you go out for your hiking, or?
Yeah, I mean, we're from the desert, so, you know, our sound is of the desert. So, and it, you know, that makes it influences the way that you play, in, like, kind of an expansive sound where you open up and you just kind of take the influence of your environment and make music out of it.
Do you feel an influence from Native American culture from all of? Are you all native here to Arizona?
Yeah, I'm native.
Yeah, we are all native Arizonans. So,
Do you think that
yeah.
came? Did that happen, like, subconsciously, or?
I think the great spirit of the sky fucking infuses what we do, and yeah, I mean, I think there is some of the, you know, history of this great state that finds its way into the music.
Right.
Definitely.
Now, there's a couple of songs, Cold Lonesome Ground and Working and Broken.
Yeah, we've actually never played that song live.
I was going to ask you because every time I see you all, it's high energy, it's quick, and I never hear, like, a slow song. And I know those two are kind of slower.
Yeah.
Will you ever be adding those to your set?
We actually did play Cold Lonesome Ground. Was that our last show with Yawning Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At,
so we did play that one sometimes.
At Pub Rock.
Yeah, Pub Rock.
Right on.
So we did play that song live. We have played that song. We, you know, incorporated it in the set here and there. A lot of older. Yeah, it's older. So a lot of the older stuff we try and just keep things newer. But
You want to keep it with the newer stuff, because, you know, on the release that you did have, which I want to talk about in a few seconds, it's all up, it's all high to me. Like, would you like to give me a little explanation of Devil's Run?
Frank.
No.
No. He said no. Okay. Right.
Okay, fair enough. We'll pass on that. And again, you know, the thing that I hear, like, with Devil's Run also is that native vibe. Really? I really feel it, and it's almost like, you know, not to sound trite, but it's like becoming a part of the Dead Canyon universe or the Dead Canyon tribe, and to me, it almost makes you all more welcoming. Like every time I go into a show, whether it's Rogers, Frank, or whether it's Josh, I always see smiles on your faces. You're always super excited, especially Josh. I mean, Josh is like the glad hander, and he is like one of the happiest guys I've ever seen. Always willing to give a handshake and a hug, and probably having a beer in hand. Which, speaking of, what is the beer of choice right now?
Enjoy a good beer from time to time. Right now, this is, this Disruption IPA. The name of the brewery escapes me, so sorry guys, no plug there. But it's just kind of a hazy IPA, which I enjoy from time to time. But I enjoy a lot of different beers. You know, if we want to talk beer, let's
get into it.
No, not really, because I don't. Talking beer is fucking stupid. I like to drink beer.
And Frank, what do you have on there? What do you got?
Oh, well, I'm like the Hank Hill of the band. I drink Amstel.
Amstel
exclusively. He drinks Alamo. He drinks Alamo. But I mean, I don't like.
Any chance you're going to go into propane accessories?
I'll tell you what. I don't like a lot of like IPAs and a lot of like weird fancy craft beers. I know I'll probably get shit for this, but I'm kind of like the habitual. I like a brand. It's weird. I like two ends of the spectrum. I either like Amstel,
right,
or I like Guinness. And that's
look,
it.
Look who you're talking to. I have a tall can of Pabst Blue Ribbon. I mean,
no, I feel you.
You're not preaching. You're preaching the converted here.
The irony of it isn't lost on me. You know what I mean? The craft beer thing, like it's like everywhere I go, it's part of my income, all that stuff, and it's just like, nah. I like Amstel.
Well, there you go.
Roger.
And what are you drinking, Roger?
What am I drinking? I am drinking the Mosaic Promise.
What the hell is that?
Founder's Mosaic Promise.
Well, can you give a
single hop ale? Let me see.
Let's see. Let's take a sip. What are you getting notes of?
Very hoppy. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes, it's hoppy. Just hold on a second. One hop.
It's
a single hop.
It's a single hop beer.
I'll have the double hop next.
Fantastic.
But, mighty good. I guess it's good because it's gone.
Yeah. Well, it's time for another one. And by the way, while we're here, we also have a special guest. Will not speak, but can she speak into the mic? This is Harley. Does Harley speak?
No, not really. She does do some tricks though. Come here.
Oh, Harley will do a trick.
Sit.
Shake.
Up. Shake. Lay down. She wants to go for the spin.
She wants to go for. So we have Harley. What kind of dog is Harley again? A bull terrier.
This is like a Spuds McKenzie dog, yeah.
That's right. Go Spuds, go. Gives motion to the ocean.
That's right.
Oh my God. All right. I'm sorry. I got a little sidetracked there.
Who can't with dogs?
So, in hearing like Devil's Run and like Yours Sincerely, I'm getting like I said, and I've said it a 1,000 times already about this native vibe, but I also get this blues influence, this Southern blues influence, almost like Foghat or like a Molly Hatchet. Would you agree with that, or is there what are your influences as you're creating this music?
I mean, I guess it's subjective. I mean, I can't agree or disagree with it.
Right.
I mean, I'm definitely the blues nerd in the band. Like that's mostly what I listen to.
And who do you nerd out to? Like how deep do you go? Do you go like Robert Johnson or Little Walter or?
Little Walter's good. I like
You going to see Buddy Guy in March or what?
We're gonna go see Buddy Guy in March. I've seen Buddy Guy.
I saw him
3
years
times
ago
now.
in Wetlands in New York. It was somebody dragged me to the show because I'm like, I don't really want to see this. I went and saw it, and I was like, I cannot ever not see him again.
Mm-hmm.
It was just phenomenal.
It's the closest thing I think we'll get to seeing Hendrix. You know what I mean? I think he's
truly.
Great.
And so does that he's a major influence on you?
There's one record he did called Sweet Tea, and it's all covers of like Mississippi bluesmen. You should check it out. It's fucking awesome. It's a great record. That record in particular, definitely. But I mean everything from Muddy Waters to Howlin' Wolf to to I mean, you name it. I mean, I nerd out to all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, Robert Johnson's good and all, but like it's some of that stuff can be kind of difficult to wrap your head around. But all that Chess Records stuff is really great. I mean, I don't know. Like once I think I kind of hit a point where I just kind of felt like I should go backwards.
Right.
And it was kind of refreshing to sort of drink from the well, not from the cup.
Oh, good pull, man. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's awesome.
That's not mine. I stole it. But
that's okay. Believe me, I steal stuff like consistently. Yeah. So, what is some of the tracks that you enjoy playing live? Like you get a real good vibe off of and you feed off.
I think everyone's favorite right now is Once in a Row.
I was just going to say that because I don't know if you guys agree or whatever, but I think that is your show ender. That's the one that's the showstopper where it's like you're pumping everybody up and getting them jacked. Now, when you create your music, and I've listened to it extensively, do you give way in the song, like say something like Once in a Row, okay? So I listened to that, and there seems to be a lot of space where you can go off. Like Freebird used to be an 8-minute song. Now it's a 16-minute song. There's so much room for you to grow in so many different songs. Do you ever take that chance and move it? Like, how much of your, when you're on stage, how much of it is improvised and how much of it is structured?
Most of it's pretty structured. I mean, we might improvise parts here and there, but I mean, for the most part, we just play the song. Like, there's not. Yeah, like we're not a. Yeah.
I'll, might improvise some fills or something. Might improvise fills, in between. But as the most part, I think with it being the high energy that it is, I think that could, in a live setting, that could easily get lost.
Exactly.
If we go too far, and so I think it's best to keep it simple. I mean,
keep it tight.
Riff rock.
Riff rock.
I love riff rock.
That's awesome. Now, in watching you guys play, I could be wrong. Do you have a set list, or? Because I see a lot of people looking to Josh saying, okay, and like I can't ever hear what you're saying, but it's almost like, which one do you want to do next?
I mean, I think we write a set list like probably 5 minutes before we play, and then it's like, oh, what did we say we're going to play again? Like, you got to go with whatever you're feeling at the time. So it's not like we're going to fucking, I mean, on tour, I think we had like a set list that we did every night,
switch a song in or out,
yeah, but for the most part, playing local shows, it's just like, well, what do you feel like playing,
right. Now I just got you guys after doing a practice session, so are you working on new material?
Yeah, we are working on at least one new song, and started kind of getting the seed of something new coming together. So I mean,
any idea what direction it's going or what style?
I mean, we're keeping it pretty high energy for now, kind of in the vein of the EP that we recorded last year.
Right.
But we don't. It's not like premeditated. It's like, just whatever happens. Like, you got to fucking feel the spirit flow through you and capture the whatever essence that is.
I think right now all of us are kind of really vibing together with the high energy kind of stuff. It's like it seems to be working a lot better than at times when we kind of try to be a little bit more spatially or musical and spatial and all of that. I think we'll get there. It's just we're connected a lot better right now as, high energy, just rock and roll, just really in your face kind of.
Was there a time that suddenly changed?
I don't think it was anything that was like a sea change and like, oh, we want to do this now. It was just like, these are the songs that are coming out, so this feels good. Let's go with it, But we could just as easily be like, oh, well, this feels right now for this song. So
we could wind up a jam band.
You never know.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not outside of our wheelhouse.
So
but,
the more weed we smoke, the more jamming we do.
I like that. There you go. Do you usually do that before you play? Does it help?
I actually used to smoke a lot of weed. Lately, not so much, but sometimes I like to indulge in the marijuanas, and sometimes it can take you in a whole different direction than you might otherwise be inclined to.
I was talking to some guys from the band Red Wizard, and Miles had said that usually if I smoked or whatever, it kind of got me lazy unless I had an outlet like music. And then you could experiment, you could tool around, you can maybe find something that you didn't have before. Is that something that you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't ever just like smoke weed and sit around anymore. Like, if I'm gonna get high or whatever, I want to play fucking music, 100%.
Now I know you're a hiker. Do you do that when you hike too?
No. Drink beer strictly. You need the complex carbohydrates when you're hiking. So you got to replenish the fluids.
Yes.
You got to
You got to stay with nature, with hops and
exactly,
barley
hops.
and etc.
Weeds nature too, and sometimes you want to fucking take some shrooms.
There is water and beer.
Yeah,
you do get hydrated.
And beer, and sometimes you want to take some shrooms and walk out into the desert. But
so
sometimes hiking can get weird, which is great.
And you said that you do get creative when you're hiking, like maybe you come up with an idea or a concept or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like just getting into nature is it's a great outlet as far as tapping into again your environment. Like I like to draw a lot of ideas from where I'm at, and this place is a pretty unique and singular place. So you want to kind of draw your ideas from that.
Do you have any idea why this area is such a hotbed for music right now? I feel like Arizona has become its own scene, whether it's Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, Tucson, Flagstaff. I seem to see a ton of bands, and a lot of bands that can fall into the desert rock category, but there's plenty of others, whether it's alternative or singer-songwriter or what have you. But any reason why this space is becoming the hotbed?
I think it is something they put in the water.
Is it the fluoride?
It's the fluoride.
Yeah.
Which some people say that it brainwashes you and makes you passive or whatever. But actually, the particular type of fluoride, which I think is meth that they put in the water here.
Yeah.
Is it the crystal type or? Is it,
I think it's the crank that they just pump into the water.
Oh, I remember that one.
People seem to get off on it, but I would definitely recommend against that sort of substance abuse.
Oh, I remember that when they made Crystal Pepsi. I couldn't. Oh.
Actually, I was just talking with somebody about Crystal Pepsi earlier today, and it was saying that somebody bought up the whole fucking supply of Crystal Pepsi once they said that they weren't going to make it anymore.
I swear I just saw it in Walmart.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. They're like, oh, we don't have this anymore, so they get rid of all the old stock, and they're like, hey, we fucking brought back Crystal Pepsi, and then they sell a bunch more, and it's like, only suckers fall for that shit.
So I see that you have a Bowie shirt on. Is that in reference to David Bowie, or are you a big fan of knives, or what is that?
Yeah, I like the Bowie. I wish I had a raccoon cap too.
There you go.
Would be good. No, definitely David Bowie. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but I'm a big fan, I guess.
Can you give a few top tracks that just changed you, or?
Well,
changes.
Yeah, it changes. Well, definitely, I would say I like the way and the changes in Andy Warhol, which actually isn't even his song, I don't believe. I think somebody else wrote Andy Warhol, but Hunky Dory is definitely my favorite album by Bowie.
Standout track.
Standout track.
Because I know the catalog, but I can't tell you which album has which songs on it, unfortunately. Like, what about like something like Ashes to Ashes or Heroes or...
That's a little bit later on.
Yeah.
That's, let's see, from Hunky Dory, that's probably 5-6 years, I think, later on. If I'm not mistaken.
It's a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not later on. Prior to that, after that, So, I'm a fan. I mean, I'm not. I'm not a huge connoisseur. Well, I am a connoisseur of Bowie, I guess, but I don't. I guess I'm wearing the shirt, but I wouldn't say I fly the flag.
We should take a look and see what tracks are on there. So we got Changes, of course.
Right, of course, Changes is on Hunky Dory.
Oh, You Pretty Things.
That's great. Oh, yes, that's a great song, of course.
8-line poem, Life on Mars, Kooks, Quicksand.
Right.
Fill Your Heart, Andy Warhol.
Right.
Is on there.
Yeah, Andy Warhol. Yeah.
Song for Bob Dylan, Queen Bitch, and the Boulay Brothers.
Yeah, Boulay Brothers.
Yeah.
That's a cool song there too.
And that is back in 1971.
71 is a great year.
It is.
71 is a great year for music.
Right.
There was a lot of inspiration coming out. There was the transition of music going on from, the Vietnam War, there was all the protest, and now after that, everybody wanted to just celebrate almost after that. Now, I don't know if I should say celebrate, but just kind of wash themselves of everything that was going on there. You got in, we talked about Bowie, got in the glam movement.
Mm-hmm.
Kiss started coming along and all that stuff right there. So Thin Lizzy, great, ZZ Top. I mean, yeah, it goes on and on. If you want to look at 1971 as a year, go there, and there's so many good music. Not to mention, I was born that year. So
there you go. You can't.
I'm the old man of the band.
Well, I hate to say it, I'm older than you, so it's okay.
Hey, we're all rockers, right?
Right. So
doesn't matter how old you are.
Speaking of a creativity. Is there a time when you're most creative? Like, is there a time of day, or sometimes I'll get ideas in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping. I wake up, I got to put something on my memos, and then go back to bed, or else I'll forget it. Is there a time of day when you feel inspired?
When I'm on the toilet and when I'm masturbating, and right when I wake up in the morning.
So, wait a minute, hold on a second. Let's go back to Josh here. So, okay, so the idea of being on the toilet, is it with a single, or is it when you're dropping a deuce? Is it a hard out? Is it?
Oh no, it's a very easy process for me. It's just like I'm not like grunting on the toilet. I just get on there and I'm just like, hey, okay, this is my time to just enjoy me.
And that's when the inspiration comes.
And sometimes inspiration comes, and sometimes I'm just thinking about shit.
And wait, hold on, we're not done.
All right.
And since we're speaking of coming up with ideas and masturbating, furiously, I'm assuming.
No, not furiously at all. Like you can injure yourself that way. Like,
do you use like a 40 grit, like a sandpaper?
No, not at all. Oh, absolutely not. If I'm feeling fancy, I'll use like a nice little lotion or something. But
do the people in the Walmart beauty counter get upset about that?
Sometimes they do, but it's like, grow the fuck up,
Now, do you have any idea when your next release will be coming out?
No.
Go ahead.
Maybe within a year. Within the year.
Okay, and I asked this about...
That's good to know. I like that answer, too.
I asked this from a lot of people because I think it's important, and I almost got kicked off of a tour van because I actually don't have vinyl. So will you be releasing will your next release come out on vinyl as well?
The next thing we do will definitely come out on vinyl because we haven't released any vinyl yet, so it's time.
That's awesome.
But it's always dicey.
And why is that?
Because it's expensive to make,
right?
And we'll more than likely make it ourselves.
Sure.
And it's not exactly the way a lot of people listen to music these days, unfortunately.
I see some of the bands of this genre, and they seem to be doing well with it. It's at every show. Mm-hmm. They seem to be selling it. I don't know. I'm not that.
No, it's definitely the gold standard as far as merch goes. I mean, if you have a record with cool packaging, it becomes a collector's item.
Right. Yeah.
And that's really kind of the only way to, earn back what you put in a sense. But unfortunately, the majority of people stream music these days. So
they do. It's there. There's that idea. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that it's coming back. That there's that tangibility, that quality where you can actually hold something.
Yeah.
And that is a big thing. I know. I saw a comedian a long time ago, and he was talking to the crowd about an album. He says, I used to use the album to split my seeds from the marijuana. And then he sidestepped that and says, there used to be seeds in marijuana. Right. Not anymore, though. Not anymore. So is there a sound or a tone that you've been working on that you're struggling with? Or is there something that just finally came together that you're excited about?
No, I mean, I think our tone is pretty achievable. I mean, it's nothing fancy. I mean, we're not trying to be the loudest or the heaviest or the fuzziest band. I mean,
right.
I mean that's not really our thing. I mean, there's a ton of other bands that do that so well. So I mean, why take up that reign?
Right. And where do you enjoy playing the most? I know you play here in this area, but where else do you enjoy playing? And have you gone out of the state?
Yeah, I mean, in April we did a 10-day tour, 10-day-ish tour.
Right.
We have always loved playing the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. The Bay is always the best.
Have you ever gone to the East Coast?
No.
Is that
we'd like to?
Is that something in the future? Like maybe travel along the I-10 and find some spaces and book some gigs along the I-10 while you're heading east?
That would be ideal. That would be really cool.
I'll get on that right away.
Thank you.
Yeah. I promise.
Somebody support it.
Yeah.
Somebody support it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you're currently listening to that is inspiring you? And it doesn't have to be in the genre. Or is there anything, maybe something?
Well, let me look. Let's look at my phone.
Yeah, let's take a gander here.
I'm always listening to stuff that's inspiring me because I try not to listen to stuff that sucks or doesn't inspire me. Let's see here.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Let's get
it out. Let's see what you got.
I did some Rocky Erickson.
13th floor elevators.
Yeah.
Did you see that documentary? with him?
No.
Oh, check it out.
He's good.
He's gone, dude.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, I've seen him in other documentary, and he's no bueno.
Through him working with his brother, who's also a musician, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he does orchestra, the brother. And it's a testament to like a brotherly love of a family, but it's a great documentary. It got me hooked on him, without question. What else you got in there?
Oh man, Nikki Lane.
I have no idea.
She's a country artist.
Right.
She's freaking amazing. We saw her live. We saw her open for J.D. McPherson.
Oh, okay.
Who is also probably the best live act I've seen 2 times now. It just blows your socks off.
Do you feel that might pour over? Like maybe there'll be a slight more country vibe to something in the future?
I doubt it. It's just something I like to listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Dead Canyon is kind of its own thing.
We're transitioning to pop country.
Yeah.
Pop country, yeah.
Yeah.
The money there.
Are you going to be like touring with Luke Bryan and
whatever the hot fucking new pop country artist is. That's right where we're at.
So we got Freddie King, who's probably my favorite guitar player. I listen to that probably too much.
right?
You know, Hound Dog Taylor, Jay Munley and the Lee Lewis Harlots, who are freaking phenomenal.
What style is that?
Jay Munley, I mean, it'd be tough to nail down. It's like Gothic Americana.
Really?
It's beautiful though. Like the Jay Munley and the Lee Lewis Harlots is probably one of my favorite records of all time. It's just kind of a go-to touchstone for me.
So you put your stamp on that one.
It has nothing to do. It doesn't sound anything like Dead Canyon, but it is honestly. It's one of the best records I own. Yeah, man.
What's your favorite album that came out this year? Sorry, I'm taking over.
Please, yeah. Well, I'd rather go right ahead.
My favorite album that came out this year.
Oh, you can edit that out.
No, that's okay. I don't care.
That's actually probably. Well, it's 2018. So I have 2017.
Yeah, the 3 that came out so far this year. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with the newest J.D. McPherson record. It's baller. It is so good. You know.
I heard that.
And since Josh asked, he must have a
what's your
top for
favorite
2017.
You know, that's hard to say. I do love the new Jessica Lee Mayfield album, and I don't even know what the name of the album is anymore because, like, it's hard to keep track of those things.
Right.
That was like definitely something that I have listened to quite a bit this year. But honestly, it's hard to like. Always, I'm trying to keep up with new music, but there's so much released. Like the new Broncho record's really great. Not as good as their. Well, I mean, it is as good as their last record. I haven't listened to it.
But it's what you like. If you like it, you like it.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good music coming out now. You know, people say that like music is dead and it's all fucking Marshmallow Head now or whatever. But
Well, they're not in the clubs that we're in.
Yeah,
because I see people.
Great music coming out these days, and you got to dig around for it for sure. But yeah, it's almost an embarrassment of riches as far as like what's coming in the pipeline. So like keeping up with it can be not a chore, but
Daunting task.
Overwhelming, yeah. Daunting.
And how about yourself for 2017?
Myself, I'm going to have to pull out my phone, I guess. I'm sorry if I'm leaving anything out, but, you know, hey, that's what it is. What did I have? I'm just going to go through my phone really quick. For 2017, I had, I don't know if 2017, but this is right here. Let's start. Crystal Fairy, Cypress Hill, DRI, David Bowie, Dead Kennedy.
Hold on, stop. Wait.
Depeche Mode,
go
Devo, back. Thomas Dolby.
You got some.
I had Frank Sinatra, God's Tower, Gojira, Heat, Heart, Hater, Jack White.
Wow,
Jay Munley and the Denver Gentlemen.
Apparently, that's
King
an album
Gizzard,
to get.
the Lizard Wizard. There's even there's Caius Villains that was 2017 in there. I did get into that album. It was completely different, but there was some fucking really cool bass lines on there, and I really dug them. So
now you mentioned Thomas Dolby.
Yeah, she blinded me with science.
Okay, she blinded me with science.
Well, I don't know everything about Thomas Dolby. But
did you know what happened?
I'm a connoisseur.
blind, right?
Yeah. He has that frizzy
because of
hair.
science,
he has glasses.
Yeah.
But do you know what he did after?
It produced.
Do you know that he basically created the common ringtone for phones?
Oh, the
Just all that whole idea of ringtones didn't exist.
Really?
Created it and poof, just blew up. I mean, I would never have expected that.
God damn.
Yeah, you see that, it is what it is. So when you go through that list, does it bring you to anything specific? Like, does that influence you, or it's just something to kind of kick the time?
This is just stuff that I listen to all the time. I just it goes on and on. I mean, it's all different. I listen to everything. I mean, there's Frank Sinatra in there, Mike Scheidt. Mike Scheidt, Yob. Yob is one of my all-time favorites. With Grays at Sea, we tour with him so many times. That guy is like he's like in the circle of life and musically. To me, what's going on? Yeah, he might play
we'll
in
get
432 hertz.
We're gonna get to that question.
If everybody knows about 432 hertz.
Oh, can we just ask the fucking question?
All right, get to it.
All right, so I said this right beforehand, and I wanted to make sure that there was an answer, or maybe some semblance of an answer. So I interviewed this band. Actually, the band was Black Pussy, and they said that they record at 432 hertz, which is like a resonant tone for nature and the earth. Do you record in that tone?
No.
Do you make a conscious effort to record in that tone?
No. No. I think we are all already connected in that tone, and how we just tuned. We just regular, so let that just be stated. We don't do anything fancy or whatever.
Like you said, riff rock.
Riff rock, yes. We're all just about creating that high energy riff.
Ooh,
and that's what I'm
awesome.
about, right?
That had depth.
I do understand the 432. It's supposed to connect the mind. It's supposed to be more like cyclical, and you're in tone more. The frequency is supposed to be more
right
conducive to.
I hope you're enjoying the interview so far, and just want to take a quick break and play a little something from a previous band that some of the band members were in called Black Hell. This is Rain Gasoline.
create these tones like Sun and these other bands that, you know, are really heavy and, you know, more tone oriented,
right?
As opposed to more just like song and structure. And once again, you know, for me, you know, the riff, I'm all about that. You know, I love that. So I think, you know, we're more in tune that way,
right,
rather than our actual tuning.
Now, do you? I noticed that I see both of you singing on stage. Do you ever sing on stage or no?
I have not in this band.
No, he doesn't sing in this band.
No.
I don't
think they want me to have a microphone.
That's not true. As much as we've poked him, he won't do it.
And Josh, I know you're munching, but
No, that's not
yeah. How
pizza, by the way.
how hard is it, or how difficult is it to drum and sing at the same time? I'm always amazed when I see a guitarist or I see a drummer, and they can do both. Like it's.
Well, the thing about that is I don't do it very well. So it's not easy to do, not very well, but it's doable.
Right.
Thank you, for brushing the crumbs off of me. This guy's my best friend.
Well, you would hope. He's very touchy.
So I can't do it with every song. So I would do it more if I was able to, I think. But it's something that it has to be a little simple, or what I'm doing on the drums, if I'm able to put vocals behind it. I wish I was better. I wish I was, you know, like Phil Collins or whatever.
Right.
But
I wish you were like Phil Collins.
but I'm not, you know, but I do what I can.
You do exactly what you can. Now, with the both of you singing, if you were by chance to go to a karaoke bar, what song would you choose to bring the house down?
Well,
Oh, yes, go ahead. I can't
when
wait
I
to hear
want to
this.
tear it down,
Yeah.
I'll go straight for When Doves Cry. You know, 'cause that
Really?
would just fucking.
Do you sing it in the tune, or you
Oh
just...
yeah, no, I sing it as close to Prince as I possibly can.
Oh, I wish we had that right now.
Well,
And what would you choose?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe Let's Get Crazy.
No, I probably do Easy by the Commodores.
Nice. Good pull. Would you ever think of Sail On?
No.
Okay. Just easy. You go no. All right.
Yeah. That's
Easy.
usually my standing ovation song.
That's the one.
Faith No More does a good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Roger, is there anything that you would do at karaoke? Because I know you're not doing the singing right now, but
Not yet. I'll grace them with my vocal presence soon. I guess it might have to come out. Stroke it.
and do you have
No, I would no. My karaoke song would be Stray Cat Strut.
interesting pull. I like that. So Stray Cat fan?
Yeah.
Did you hear?
I saw Brian Setzer with his Christmas orchestra, 18-piece orchestra, and it was actually really good.
Hey, look, hey,
He fucking shredded, dude.
Hey
He
Santa
shredded.
is a good song.
He
I mean,
shredded.
now did you see what they did afterward? After Stray Cats, there was a band called Phantom Rocker and Slick. Did you ever check that out?
I did see Lee Rocker at a guitar show a couple years ago. It was just at a warehouse in like Tempe, South Tempe, or something like that.
Right.
Free. He was just playing. It was a stage, little tiny setup stage. But Lee Rocker, I mean, he came out and boom, 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 slap that bass. Like, oh yeah,
Wow.
like nobody's business.
That is fantastic, man. So is there a song right now, while we're on karaoke and songs and etc., do you have a song that you can't get out of your head?
Baby metal. No.
Are you serious?
No, not at all. No.
A couple
No,
podcasts ago,
not at
somebody was just saying that they couldn't get. They had Baby Metal playing. They were coming over from California, and they had Baby Metal on, and they just said, "No, this sounds like a bad hentai film."
No, that was a complete joke.
Is there anything any of you guys got stuck in your head right now?
Well, I went to Hawaii for Christmas this year. I literally could not get fucking Mele Kalikimaka out of my head. Just singing that all day long.
Is that what is that the song that goes on in
Mele Kalikimaka is the thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day.
Oh, we have to give him a few more beers to get the rest of that out. That is necessary. So, whether you're on stage or whether you're at the house or maybe out in nature or what have you, when do you feel most at peace?
Oh, that's good. When do I feel the most at peace?
Yeah.
No.
That was Josh.
When do I feel? I guess I just don't ever really feel at peace.
Really?
Is that a bad answer?
No, it's your answer.
Maybe the first 8 seconds before I fall asleep.
Really? Where your head hits the pillow, it's not too hot, it's not too cold.
No, way after that.
Way after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like just like after you've hit the pillow and you've laid there for maybe 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And you're just, yeah, dude.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fuck, I told you I'm high strung.
He is high strung.
And just before you go into that weird twilight sleep where you're not sure if you're awake or you're asleep.
Right.
That point. And that is usually when I get my best ideas, unfortunately.
And that's when you go to the phone, throw the ideas in the phone, and sack out.
I can't move. I just pray that I remember them when I wake up.
Oh. And has there been things that you thought of that you just don't get it back?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. But there are things that I've thought of that I remembered.
Oh,
so,
all right, fair enough.
That's been good.
And Josh?
Yeah.
Besides oral pleasure here, when else are you truly at peace? Or when you're not getting a peace? Or
I think that I'm always pretty peaceful. I'm just a generally pretty peaceful individual. So,
that's true.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yep.
I'm always pretty much in my zone.
Just pretty much zoned in. That's, yeah, I could see that when going to the shows, that it's just almost like people gravitate towards certain people. They gravitate towards you. And there's got to be a reason for it. You're probably resonating at about, let's say, 432.
That's I'm resonating with the Mother Earth and the Sky Father, and fucking, it's good.
So in your genre of music, how do you see it changing, or what do you see that you think might be something new on the horizon for the next 5-10 years?
As far as the genre of music we play, and this is just my kind of opinion, what genre?
Yeah, how about that? Is there something, and I don't want you to have to define it if you don't want to, but is there something that you, like a genre that you would consider it?
I feel like a lot of the bands that play in the similar milieu that we play in kind of stick to a genre convention, and we're not really interested in that. We rather just kind of do our own thing. So it's hard to say where we might go. We could have some country influence. We could have a jam band feel. We could, throw in some fucking electronic influences. It's really just whatever comes out, and it's better not to obey any sort of conventions of what you're supposed to sound like.
Right.
Just whatever you feel like doing, just make that happen.
I still haven't gotten my battle vest.
Are you going to be building one?
No, you will not see me in a battle vest.
I have to admit,
I'm not saying anything to anybody that does wear one. I'm just saying you won't see me
Roger's
in
talking shit.
That was the first time I ever saw that. I mean, I saw every once in a while back in my day, where people would have a few pins, maybe have. Do you remember the days when people used to paint the back of the jacket? I used to see that, but I've never seen it like sleeves cut off, battle jacket style.
I do have a vest from, like I said, I'm the old guy of the band. I do have my Levi jacket that has the Anthrax, Slayer, Venom, Welcome to Hell, Alcoholica, and the back patch, which would completely be unacceptable today, is SOD, Speak English or Die. And that's, that was the back patch. I still have it. It's I'm sure it's not going to fit me anymore. But
we actually talked about that in a previous podcast.
So actually, that was maybe the first battle vest. So I'll take that back. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying.
Vest.
I have a mouthful of pizza. What?
Do you think that you'll ever do an SOD cover?
As Dead Canyon?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because like I was saying, we talked about that on a previous podcast, which I could always bring up the question is, do you think that there is an album or a book or a movie that should be shown to kids in school? And one of the bands said SOD, Speak English or Die. Also, Anthrax, I think it was Among the Living, and Master of Reality was another choice.
Honestly, one of the things that I've watched that I think they should show in public schools is John Oliver's show.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. The segments that guy does where he breaks stuff down and he explains it to where even the most basic moron can do it, whether it's the private prison system or,
right.
Stuff about Dr. Oz, all that shit. Like that, all that stuff that guy covers, like they should be showing that shit in public schools to make people more aware of how they're getting taken for a ride.
It calls people out on their bullshit.
Yeah,
what's the other guy? I've seen him on, I know he has a show. Well, that was powerful neck crack there. There was a guy that I've seen on YouTube. I think he's on the BBC, Thoreau. Louis Theroux.
Louis Theroux, yeah.
Have you seen any of his exposés?
I heard he just got signed to do some documentaries or do something for the New York Post or HBO or something. Yeah.
I hope so, because
like today, like it just happened like 12 hours ago.
It's just so unbelievably casual, and he's so unalarming. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, if you haven't seen it on YouTube, I would highly suggest checking out some of his documentaries, because
he's a Beeb guy, right? BBC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're brilliant. I mean, he's done everything from the Westboro Baptist Church to, there was a place, I can't remember if it was California or not, where it only housed pedophiles. And it was just this rehab that I don't know. I don't even know if it worked. And then he was at the brothel in Vegas somewhere, one of those things, and he did stuff on bodybuilders and wrestlers and all this. So it's all that stuff that it's kind of really interesting, and he just breaks it down and makes it.
Yeah,
I don't think he's necessarily.
That's what I feel like. I like the John Oliver stuff because it's like a quick 10-12 minute thing on something you've never thought about, like the net neutrality thing that he just did. Well, he didn't just do it. Like, he did it about a year ago.
Sure.
And he puts up an email address and a hashtag to get people, you know what I mean, to call into their state's congressmen or senators, and they just had this thing passed now where they're gonna get rid of net neutrality, and it's kind of fucked up.
Right.
I think The Wire should be.
Yeah,
The Wire.
The Wire too.
And Josh, why do you think The Wire?
Because it kind of breaks down like where our institutions fail us as a society, in a way that's entertaining for one, and just in a way that I think is important for people to understand.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Now, well, Roger is busy right now, but I do want to ask him if he has anything that he. Oh, there we go. The exhale. Fantastic. Is there anything that you think should be shown in schools or taught in schools?
I guess
Weed etiquette from Vice.
I always enjoyed if I had seen the Body Worlds exhibit, or I guess there was this other what was the program, they like slice people in half. Is
the Bodies exhibit.
Well, it was something else, but it was the same concept. They froze them and sliced them in half. I think if they did that, I would have like completely been involved in biology and science and been more apt to be in school as opposed to take acid and drop out.
Yeah, that exhibit.
Larry should also be talking.
No, I actually did that. I listened to him and I actually did it.
Turn on.
I took my first day of high school. I thought you'd go in there like normal, like other classes. Oh, you're gonna meet your other students. You're gonna meet everybody. No, you will go in there. It was before class, and and next thing you know, it's work, and so I got out of class, and you didn't have to stay in there. You had different periods, so I got out of class, went to my buddy that had also dropped. And we were like, man, I'm tripping. I'm starting to feel it. What are we doing? Let's get out of here. So we took off and didn't come back to school for like 2 weeks.
Let's talk about acid here.
That was a long trip. Yes. Can you pass that to Josh? He has a lovely story.
Breaking shit here. So taking acid in class, I don't recommend it. But I do remember a time that I dropped acid before class in high school and went to Spanish class. And we had a substitute teacher who happened to be a, what's the correct nomenclature for these individuals nowadays? A little person was the...
LP.
Yeah, little person was the substitute teacher for the class. And my friend Rita, who dropped acid with me, she was deathly afraid of little people. So imagine listening to a little person speaking Spanish, which, we had a very
not to be disrespectful,
grasp.
Was it a higher voice?
The little person?
Yeah.
He had kind of a little bit of a higher voice. Yeah, I mean, it was that's not an uncommon thing amongst little people, I believe.
Yes.
So yeah, he had a pitch that was higher than the average person's, and he's speaking Spanish, which we have a limited grasp on at best.
Right.
And we're on LSD. So that was something I don't recommend. Don't take acid if there's going to be a substitute teacher that's a little person for Spanish class. That's just a good rule of thumb for all you kids out there.
This is a a helpful tip. This is Josh's corner on when and to take and when not to take acid.
Well, and actually, I hadn't taken acid for a very long time after high school, but I did fairly recently.
Right. Where were you?
I was going to Roger Waters' show at...
That's perfect time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I don't need to do acid anymore because that was peak LSD experience. But what I did find out about myself, and this is why I stopped doing acid for a long time,
right,
is that I get very morbid on LSD. I think about death nonstop.
And why is that?
I couldn't tell you, but it's something that I've recently learned about myself. And
LSD and Josh is death.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't tell you why, but I know that it's a thing now.
Taste colors.
And some people have some.
What exactly are you feeling like an overwhelming sense of your mortality, or are you feeling like everything's has a life and a death.
I think I feel like a connection between making art and death, which is not something that maybe I would put together.
Do you feel like art is killing you?
I don't think that art's killing me, no, but I think that part of making art is trying to rail against your own mortality. You know, it's the legacy experience that you're trying to create something that lives beyond you.
If you dropped acid and then got into the studio, how would that change your playing?
I don't think I'd be able to play.
Have you ever tried it?
How would you try?
I've played music on LSD before. I don't think well.
What is because I honestly I've never done it. So, how does it change the way your kit looks?
It changes your perception in a myriad of ways, which it can be different from experience to experience. But taking acid definitely alters your perception in a way that it changes your reality. So something that you maybe have done 1,000 times before becomes completely new. And
it opens up the doors.
Yeah, it opens up the doors of perception. Aldous Huxley, which is more about mescaline, which I've never done, but I would be open to a mescaline experience. Yeah, I have not.
Do you have any ideas about that?
I've done
Peyote.
almost everything, so I have an experience of whatever.
And do you have a favorite? Do you have a choice?
Now my favorite is marijuana.
And what is it? Is there a specific strain, or is there something that it specifically does for you or to you?
The strain would be THC, and
sativa or indica.
Sativa, indica. Depends what the hell I'm doing, but I do like the sativas. I do like to get a little heady, as they say. I've been to the dispensaries. I've got my card, or I used to have my card.
So what was your specific ailment that got you this card?
My doctor says I need to get high.
Is there a severe anxiety? Is there a depression? Is there?
I have it all. Look at me, you know what I mean? But without getting into a lot of it, I've had an accident, so I could easily get it.
Okay. So it was from a prior accident. I understand.
He shit his pants. Now his doctor says he needs to get high.
I'm not scared to talk about it. I just don't want to drag this thing on for a long time about myself. It's not about me.
Well, you smoked some of my weed.
It's about the group collective.
That you wet.
Speaking of, because you were smoking. What is that? What are we smoking today?
That's Purple Larry. It's a indica dominant hybrid. So it's more of like let's get like Leafly, whatever. Like you ever watch those or read those reviews for marijuana? They're fucking hilarious. If you haven't checked them out, check out Leafly and like the reviews of marijuana. It's the same thing with like beer and wine. Like people like so talk up their asses about fucking something that's like, it's weed.
And does it get you drunk? Yes. Does it get you high? Yes.
Exactly. It gets you high. It gets you a body high. You're relaxed.
Well, on a slightly different topic, I know in other genres that there's collaborated. People collaborate, like in pop music and some rock music, etc. Is there anybody that you ever would think that you might want to collaborate with, or would you ever invite I know that you said that there was a female singer that you really liked. Would you ever think of having a collaboration with that person?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If I could If I could get, absolutely. If I could get Mark Lanigan to sing every song that I ever wrote, that will be awesome.
We have to throw that out there. Throw it out to the universe. Yeah. You never know.
I got some other collaboration that we've actually already done as a one-off, as a little thing. We had Jeff from Goya do Thin Lizzy with us, and he came up on stage when we were playing, and we did some Thin Lizzy. So
couple times,
we did that like 2 or 3 times. So we've already had that. That's, I mean, I wouldn't say it's in the works, but it's a thing in the back burner, so to speak, that who knows when it might happen. Hey, never know.
So maybe a little collab with Jeff from Goya.
Maybe.
That would be something great down the line.
That would be awesome.
Is there anybody else that you could think of that you might want to do a collaboration with? Or maybe somebody that brings in like a different element, like a different instrument or something like that?
There's a ton of people that, like our door's open, and it's something that we've actually talked about, but it's the means of doing it. Like we would love to have like other instruments and stuff like that, like within the songs that we've already written, and just fucking around with people.
Right.
But it's just kind of a means of doing it.
A sweet, soulful organ player would be incredible.
An organ player would be the shit.
We're talking good.
So an organ player.
Yeah.
Again, bring it.
Organ players, hey, if you're good, then get with us.
Even if you're not good, get with us.
Well, I know we talked earlier, Josh enjoys playing his organ quite a bit.
Yeah.
He takes care of it, and unfortunately the people of Walmart aren't too happy with it. But
I actually don't shop at Walmart and don't masturbate there, but...
not anymore after.
Well, not any less either. More of a Target guy.
So what do you guys have coming up for the rest of 2018?
Mostly 2018. We're gonna do a bunch of writing.
Okay.
Mostly writing, some soul searching, and come up with some interesting merch ideas.
That's a good question. It's 2 parts because you mentioned 2 very interesting things. Who comes up with your merch currently? Who comes up with the ideas?
Well, we kind of do it collectively. We usually just hit up artists that we like.
Right.
We had when Jokey and I were still a 2-piece, we had Shona Crawford do our very first shirt, or an illustration that we used for she's a tattoo artist, I believe, out in Oregon now, and we use that for like the cover and a T-shirt, and actually it's a really nice T-shirt. We used a good friend of ours, this cat, Matt Manjares, for our latest T-shirt.
Right.
He was a really, really amazing sign maker. He hand makes signs, which is kind of a niche art form, a dying art form, but the guy is
signs.
Class act. He's awesome.
Is he? I mean, clarify, like he hangs signs as like a living, or is this like an avant-garde art, or like is it like a Banksy kind of thing, or
like hand painting signs.
Okay.
Like like how they did in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like you never see
to where
the green New American Vegetarian Vegan Food. The signs are green. He's done all those signs, and he worked at Trader Joe's for a while making all their signs as well.
Oh, wow. So this is an accomplished guy?
Yeah, no, he's a very accomplished individual, and he plays in a local band called Pick and Holler, which if you're into like kind of Americana music, also a very cool local band.
That's awesome. Now
he's a fantastic banjo player.
And you also talked about being creative for for 2018, writing and etc. What comes first? Do the lyrics come first? Does the music come first?
Music always comes first.
Really?
Yeah.
And I know Josh said he had written some of the music or some of the lyrics.
One song I wrote.
But who is the main lyric writer, and where do you draw your inspiration from?
It depends. I mean, I don't have like a backlog of ideas, or I try not to think about it. I usually just whatever the song sounds like, I usually let the spirit of the song kind of inform that idea in terms of story or what I'm going through at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Now, like, let's just take a song like Once in a Row. What was the, like, what brought you to those lyrics?
Well, that was kind of an interesting song the way it came together. That one actually started with the drums.
Right.
Started with the drums when us kind of joking around in a practice one day, and I wrote the lyrics well after the song was written, and the song changed several times as far as the structure goes. Mm-hmm. I believe that I want to say the bridge was probably the chorus for the first time we played it, just because it felt so good. But it actually the title Once in a Row is sort of lifted from I lifted it from an episode of the HBO show Deadwood.
Oh, right on, Deadwood. Yeah. So you're a fan?
Huge fan.
Is that the genre that you like most? It's kind of like a sci-fi-ish, and is that the genre that you go to most when you're watching shows?
Deadwood's a western.
Oh, Deadwood. What am I thinking of? Westworld. I'm sorry, Westworld. Duh.
Yeah. You were close.
That's my dumb.
But yeah, Westworld, I guess, is kind of a western in and of itself, right?
And you know what? That's interesting. You bring that up, because are there any other songs that you got inspired by from Deadwood? Because in the songs, I've discussed it already, the nature and native vibe and stuff, but I also feel like I felt like there was a cowboy presence. I know it sounds stupid, but I saw something there. And was that intentional, or is it just like, was it based off that?
We named one of
No, I mean, look, dude. I mean, you look at the genre when people say the term desert rock,
right?
Or I don't know, what do you? Yeah, desert rock, stoner rock, whatever.
Right.
Like, as much as I kind of loathe that kind of term, because it implies that you have to be severely inebriated to enjoy the kind of music. Like, it's kind of silly. But I mean, as far as desert rock goes, I mean, what about desert rock really draws from the desert? I mean, especially when you think of it in terms of, like, you know, being from the Southwest.
Mm-hmm. And that's what comes across. That's exactly what I hear.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely there. I mean, we're all big fans of that kind of stuff, you know? And
Right.
Once in a Row was just kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of a thing where you're talking about how you pulled this one thing off really good, but you only did it once.
Only did it once.
I did it once in a row.
I don't know if there was a Bugs Bunny with that, where Daffy Duck was always trying to upplay him, and he did this thing where Daffy Duck swallows a bunch of gunpowder and blows himself up, and they said, that was terrific, greatest show ever. And he says, yeah, but I can only do it once. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. Yeah. I mean, it's really what it just boils down to is luck.
Luck.
You know what I mean? And how it relates to everything. You know, more than likely love.
From Deadwood is sometimes life takes every day learning how to fucking live.
Now I just have a few more quick questions. Yeah, you heard that. I just have a few more quick questions, and then I'll let you guys get on. I always like bringing this up because I know sometimes people geek out about it, and I think it's important for other people to know what instruments are you using, like what brands or companies, and is it because of a specific tone or because you just love the product? Like, what amps are you using, guitars, etc.?
I just use Gibson guitars through Marshall amps.
Okay. And yourself?
Well, I have Ampeg. I go Ampeg. I have a Fender Precision Light that I've mainly been playing, and then a custom bass that sometimes I play. So, just kind of simple. Pedals. I know everybody loves pedals and gear and all that. To me, I just kind of feel that, it needs to be, well, once again, I'm going to come back to the thing. Riff, rock. Riff, rock.
Oh, why is he a liar?
Yeah, it's not, I just, and then, I have the pedals. I love to add on effects and stuff after
This guy's a pedal tap dancer.
No. Only
And
5.
it's shaving years off my life.
And one's a tuner. Everybody, the number one first pedal you ever should buy is a tuner.
Agreed?
And make sure it's in 432 hertz.
And and Josh, what are you playing?
I play pork pie drum kit, and I use Zildjian case cymbals. I just like the way they sound. I don't have any deep answer on that.
Okay.
Whatever sounds good, And I'll play on anything, honestly. Who gives a shit? It's really about what you play, not what you're playing on.
True. And with that, I have one thing that I try to ask every band. Sometimes I'll forget. I'll be quite honest with you. What is the one question that you want me to ask the next band I interview?
Do you like a finger up your ass sometimes?
Okay. I can appreciate where you're going with that. I see a shake of the head. Frank, might you have another question?
It's more like all the time.
Like, when don't you want a finger in your ass? Yeah, that's more like it. Sir, do you have a question that you might? And Roger, do you have a question, possibly?
What's your favorite topping on your pizza?
Okay. What do you want on your tombstone pizza? That'd be even better. Okay, so we got like wanting the finger up the ass. Do you like a finger up your ass? Okay. Nothing more than 2 fingers, because anything more than 2 fingers feels like a dick. I understand. Yeah. And what type of toppings are on the pizza? And before we go, I'd like to pass the mic around. If anybody has a quote, possibly, about how much they enjoy smoking weed. Oh, here it comes. He's getting ready. He's almost there.
Smoking weed's great, but sometimes it just makes you hungry and tired.
All right.
Weed is for children and bored housewives.
I like weed.
That's it. That's perfect. I think that's the best way to end it. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Have a killer, kick-ass 2018.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate you.
All right. That was the interview with Dead Canyon. Hope you enjoyed it. Who do we have coming up next week? I believe it's Pestilent Death. They're a death metal band, deathcore, and they are from California. They put on a dynamite set. I just saw them recently at a place in Tempe, Arizona, and they just crushed. They've got a really big, bright future, and we'll get into it in the interview, and we'll play some tunes and all that. But before we go today, we have a song from Dead Canyon. This is Once in a Row.
Cut off at the
there's a quote that Dio told to Dave Mustaine one time, and it was, well, we can jerk each other off all day, or we can smoke this joint.